Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my Best Picture Oscar nominees tier list of the 2020s. These are all the movies that have been nominated for Best Picture this current decade. It's been 4 years, so there's been a lot of films, and there's a lot of great films, a lot of films I don't really think are that great. In fact, some of those are pretty hot takes, to be honest. But we're gonna go through them, and like I said, this is just my opinion, alright? No need to get nasty towards me or anything like that, despite how hot some of these takes really are. I should also say, the haven't watched category isn't really gonna be applicable here because I have seen all of these movies. And we're gonna get started with All Quiet on the Western Front. I loved All Quiet on the Western Front. On a $20 million budget, and the movie, felt this large, that's pretty impressive. Actually, no, not pretty, that's really, really impressive. And even then, the effects are all flawless. It's really, really good. And also, the fact, it is All Quiet on the Western Front, so it's a great story, so you're gonna get a great movie from this. But also seeing this, from, in the German language, very unique perspective, whereas in the original film it was done in English. But still, love All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm going to put it in A tier. It's not quite S, but it's still fantastic. Great film. Yeah, and great spectacle as well. American Fiction. Alright, this won the Adapted Screenplay Oscar this year in a race that admittedly I was kind of shocked over. I wasn't that shocked that Critics' Choice went for it, but the fact that the BAFTAs gave it Adapted Screenplay is pretty something. And you probably have seen that I didn't nominate it for the Hannahcast Movie Awards for Adapted Screenplay, but that actually was not because it's a bad screenplay. Actually, it is great, and the fact that it won, I'm not going to complain over. It's just that for me, adapted screenplay was so tough. It was the toughest category to figure out what my nominees were going to be. So, yeah, and American Fiction, it didn't quite crack my top 10 of the year, but that's not really indicative of the movie's quality, which, admittedly, it's kind of a weird way to phrase it, but it's you know what I mean? There was a lot of great movies. It just barely didn't crack into the top 10, but still, I'm going to put it in A tier, a little bit below All Quiet on the Western Front, but still, not going to complain at all. This movie was great. Next, we have the original screenplay winner of this year, Anatomy of a Fall. Again, great movie. I wasn't expecting it to be as interesting as it was, but very, very good screenplay, very good editing. Just an overall very strong film. I don't know what much else to say about it. It's just a great winner. I'll probably put it lower down in A tier. All right, Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, this is funny because a lot of people would say that, this is not as good as the first Avatar. But for me, I like Avatar, the first one, quite a bit, but I don't love it. I actually do love Avatar: The Way of Water. That was admittedly a story where I wasn't exactly sure where it was going at times. And a lot of people were saying it's just a repeat of the first one. I would argue no. There's no real kind of lie revealed or betrayal kind of thing. It's that doesn't really happen. And admittedly, what the villain is trying to do in this movie with, Quaritch, his journey, it's all right, this is kind of it's kind of funny what he is, how he's kind of become what he hates, but it's also wow, okay, but now he's an actual physical threat to these guys now. So yeah, okay, this is tough. Do I put it above or below Anatomy of a Fall? Because also I would say this has the best visual effects I've ever seen in my life, so that's great. Ooh, man, what do I do? I'll think about it. It might be just below Anatomy of a Fall, but I don't know. I need to think on that, especially once we see this list grow. Okay, Barbie. This movie won only one Oscar, and that was, original song, and it wasn't even for the movie for the song that I thought should have won. Still, Barbie's great. Actually, no, not great. It's actually fantastic. It's probably one of the funniest comedies I've seen in a while, and it's one of those movies that lingers on me. I was all right, I like this movie, but I don't really, I don't love it. But then I started thinking about it, it's you know what? Yeah, I'm actually like its ideas started really like going on in my head, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm starting to get really into the ideas of this film and the pacing and all that. So and to where honestly, we have our first S tier. If I'm gonna be completely honest, this would be like this is like a full 5 out of 5 for me on Letterboxd. Absolutely wonderful. I love it. It's definitely going to be one of the more memorable films of the decade. Then we have The Banshees of Inisherin. Probably some of the best dialogue this decade has had to offer so far. Great performances all around, but really, it is the writing that makes the movie. Like, it is the writing. It's not that the direction's bad or anything like that, but it's like, you just have a fantastic script like this, and everything just kind of falls into place already. So it's like, honestly, yeah, I'd probably put this in S tier as well, but a little bit below Barbie. But yeah. Belfast. All right, here comes another one of my. Okay, this might be a little bit of a hot take, or maybe a lukewarm take, depending on who you are. But I adored Belfast. I adored Belfast. I loved Belfast. I was so charmed by it. Again, the writing is so good. The cinematography is excellent. The performances are all amazing. And also some really good life lessons in there. Just overall, just a good time. Just a great time. This is probably one of the best films of 2021. So I would say, ooh, okay, this is tough. I do think the directing is stronger in Belfast and more clear in Belfast than Banshees of Inisherin. Again, Banshees of Inisherin does not have bad direction, but it's obviously, like I said, it's a screenplay movie. Like, the movie rides on its screenplay, whereas Belfast rides a little bit on its screenplay, but also there's a lot towards its direction. So, again, sort of like Avatar and Anatomy of a Fall, I might switch these two. But yeah, Coda. Probably the most controversial Best Picture winner this decade so far. People have kind of turned on Coda, saying, boo, this movie sucks. I hate Coda. It should never have won Best Picture. But it's like, I don't know. I thought it was great. I thought it was pretty great. Like, again, great performances, really clever writing. It's like, it's just a good time. And people are like, well, but no one's going to remember Coda but at the end of the decade. But my thing is like, we don't know that. And also, like, you can't judge people for like going with what they're kind of feeling. It's like if people really liked Coda and it like spiked at the right time, I mean, well, it's fine. I don't have a problem with us winning. And yeah, is it like the most socially important film of the decade or whatever, or is it like, again, like, I don't like, or is this going to further cinema or whatever? No, but not every movie needs to do that, and not every Best Picture winner needs to do that. It probably wouldn't have been my vote for Best Picture, but like, again, that's just the thing about film. It's very subjective, and if a movie does make you feel really good and all that, well, then that's your prerogative. I do like, yeah, and honestly, I think it's probably better than half of the Best Picture winners we've had this current decade so far. But yeah, Coda, I'll put it in a low A tier. Again, it's not like the greatest thing ever, but however, I would classify it as great. Like, again, just great feels, great performances. There's not really much to complain about in Coda for me. It's like, I can't really complain about a lot of stuff in the film. It's just the stuff that's really strong is just very, very strong. Next we have Don't Look Up. Okay, this is where we're probably not going to be in the great category. This is fascinating because for most of the running time of Don't Look Up, I was loving it. I actually did really yeah, is Don't Look Up subtle? No, it's not. It's not at all subtle. No way. But however, it's also kind of you can't really be subtle with a movie like this. Because, like, I know a lot what this movie was talking about, and a lot of what people come out from it, or take away from it is, climate change. It's a big concern. For me, that's not really what I took away from it, even though that is a legitimate concern. This movie was on the, heels of COVID, and, and granted, COVID is never going to truly go away, but considering, everyone is just like, or maybe not everyone, but like half of the population, believes it wasn't a real thing or that it's not deadly. Like, I think we kind of needed this movie to happen. So everything about this movie, for the most part, was great, except for one thing. That stupid alien planet post-credits scene. Oh my god, that is like maybe one of the most unfunny scenes I've ever seen in my life. That was supposed to be funny. Maybe one of the worst scenes of that year. It like grinds everything to a halt. And it's like, oh my god, what are you doing? It's like, I actually could not believe my eyes watching that scene. It's like, what are you doing here? Man, like, this is ridiculous. Like, and also it just kind of makes the really sour, ending where it's like, oh man, I don't really want to say too much about what the ending is, but it's like we kind of had this really dour note on, how some people have more privilege than others, and it's like there's nothing really we can do about it. And it was a depressing ending, but one that we kind of needed. But then the alien planet scene came up, it's like, got you. It's like, okay, so like that, you just kind of ruined the message. Like, this is honestly something that should have just been like a like a deleted scene. This plays out like a deleted scene you'd see on like the DVD, but it's Netflix, and Adam McKay for some reason didn't have anyone telling him that this was a bad idea for an ending. This is going to go down as probably maybe one of the worst endings to a good movie I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm going to put this down in B tier. Like, once I add more movies, it'll be a low B tier, because it's still good, but man, that post-credit scene made me so mad. I don't know why I got so worked up over that, but truly awful ending. Drive My Car. You know what? Actually, let me think. Okay, yeah, Drive My Car, because I was trying to remember, okay, what was a lot of this movie, like, not that I forgot Drive My Car, but I was like looking on my letterbox to see, what did I rate this? I was like, oh, okay, and then everything started kind of coming back to me. Drive My Car is great. Admittedly, I don't think this movie should have been great, or at least, like, I didn't think this was going to be as great as it was, because man, it's a 3-hour long drama where there's not a lot going on. And so I'm like, oh no, this movie's not going to be made for me. This is not going to be made for me. I have a bad feeling about this. And yet, it's very, very strong. This movie's very strong. I don't know what it is, but it's like, this movie just has just the perfect pacing that it needed. And I'm like, you know what? This movie's really, really, really good. So yeah, I will put Drive My Car. Oh man, now this is tough. Do I put it above or below Avatar? Right now, I might put it just below Avatar. Okay, now a lot of people are going to be getting really mad at me right now. Look, I'm sorry. Look, but it's still great. I still love Drive My Car. But yeah. But then, wait, do I put it against Anatomy of a Fall or no? We'll figure that out later. Okay, Dune Part 1. Obviously, yes, I do think Dune Part 2 is better, but however, Dune Part 1 I thought was already on its own merits like one of the best science fiction films I've seen in recent years. So yeah, I'm going to actually put Dune so far at the top of S tier right now. That's going to change inevitably, but Dune I thought had such amazing world building, such an amazing world in general, very interesting characters, great score, one of Hans Zimmer's best. And so, yeah, again, once Dune Part 2 is nominated for Best Picture, we'll start talking about a little bit more of those two in a bit, but it's like, even if the second Dune sucked, the first Dune would still be one of the best science fiction films of, like, the 21st century. Elvis, okay. Yep, this is going to be a bit of a hot take for people. I thought Elvis was pretty great, and if I'm going to be honest, I think it was probably one of the most surprising films I've seen this decade. Because when I saw that they were doing an Elvis movie, I was like, really, are we going to do another Elvis biopic? Are we really doing that again? Because like Elvis has been really played out, and I'm just like, do we really need to do this again? But not only Austin Butler's performance, which like was absolutely fantastic. I'm glad Brendan Fraser did beat him at the Oscars, but in most other years, Austin Butler would have been my pick to win. And also Baz Luhrmann was admittedly Baz Luhrmann is a bit of a hit or miss director, but this is probably one of the times where he hits the hardest, and it's like, okay, yep, you're kind of perfect for this. The editing was fantastic, the cinematography was amazing, visually, yeah, on a story level, is it, very reminiscent of a lot of other musical biopics? Sure. But I think if you're going to do that kind of film, you need to have some style to it to keep me interested, like to actually engage me. Like do something with this kind, like at least visually do something with the musical biopic that I haven't seen before. And Elvis does do that for me. So I'm gonna put Elvis in A tier. This might be a hot take. Do I do this? Ooh, do I put, okay, I might actually put it either above or below American Fiction. I'll put it just below American Fiction. But Elvis, again, way better than I thought it would be. Okay, here's going to be the biggest hot take of this video. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, despite this being everyone's favorite movie this decade, I didn't like it that much. Now, do I think there's anything like, morally wrong with it? No, not really. But the problem for me is that it's just a comedy that I don't really find funny, and so that's kind of my problem. So yeah, there are some great things about it though. I thought Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan deserved their Oscars. I thought they were fantastic. And I thought the costume design was very spectacular. The editing is very, very clever, but that's kind of it. I don't like Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm just like, really? Like she's just, not. It's not a really funny performance, and it's not really like a very deep performance. I still don't know why she won the Oscar for that. That's very strange to me. And Stephanie Hsu was good, but the performance felt very indie to me, and not really all that it didn't really stand out to me. And so, yeah, not really much else. I feel like the movie was a bit too small for its own good as well. It's like, eh. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna put Everything Ever All at Once in D tier. Not an F. It's not full on F, but sad to say, this is probably gonna be in my, yeah, not great. Then we have The Fablemans. All right, and admittedly, this is again where people are gonna go really, really Christian. But I'm sorry, I love The Fablemans. I thought The Fablemans was great. In fact, let me check something real quick. Okay, just needed to check something. Yeah, The Fablemans was amazing. Like, it really reminds me why Steven Spielberg is kind of the GOAT right now when it comes to Oscar bait movies. He just knocks it out of the park every single time. Like, oh my God. And The Fablemans, really personal story for him. I really liked that. I really, really love the performances in the film, and especially that end, like the ending, the John Ford scene. That is probably, again, that's going to go down as one of the best scenes this decade had to offer. Oh my God. Like, the ending shot. Oh my God, that ending shot is so good. Oh God. Man, I love The Fablemans so much. It's going to go in S tier. Maybe slightly below Barbie, but that might change. I don't know. We'll have to see. The Father. Oh boy, wow, what probably one of the saddest movies this decade had to offer. The Father was great. It's about a man played by Anthony Hopkins who has dementia, and his daughter is helping take care of him, and it is just shattering in how sad it is. Like, Anthony Hopkins gives the best performance I've ever seen from him, and this is one of the best actor wins I've ever seen. Like, he's so good in The Father. Like, it's unbelievable. And oh my god. And the way the movie just messes with you with its production design and its editing. It's like, where are we? Like, the movie starts making you feel like you have dementia. And like, it literally puts you in his perspective, and it's just scary. It's a scary film, and I'm worried that might happen to me when I'm old. So yeah, I'm gonna put The Father in A tier. Probably, you know what? Ooh, I might put it above All Quiet on the Western Front, but if I change my mind, I'll figure that out. The Holdovers. Okay, yeah, this is Alexander Payne's movie that is also sort of a Christmas movie, and I've yet to find a single person who has not at least liked The Holdovers. Everyone I talk to says, "Oh man, The Holdovers was so good. That's like one of my favorite movies of the year." And it's like, I know, right? Like The Holdovers is just that charming, you know. I love the cast. This best casting of 2023 easily. And the screenplay, my god, the screenplay is so good. It's just a wonderful film. It's just a wonderful, wonderful movie that hits you in the feels. Great performances. I like the vibe. The vibe of this movie is so good. Oh my god, the Holdovers is so good. I'm gonna put The Holdovers maybe below The Fabelmans? Maybe. Well, yeah. I'll go with that right now. Okay, Judas and the Black Messiah, the movie that overperformed at the Oscars that year with like a lot of nominations. But yeah, and granted, a lot of people think this is a 2020 movie when really it actually was a 2021 movie. It just released in 2021 when, you know, the Oscars like expanded their eligibility. But at the same time, it's like, it didn't really make sense. I never understood why they expanded the eligibility by like 2 months. It's like, if Warner Brothers wanted to get some Oscars out of Judas and the Black Messiah, and you still had the release dates be 2020, like it had to be a 2020 movie, Warner Brothers would have still pushed it in 2020. Like, they would have still put it, like, released it sometime in 2020. So that didn't make any sense. Nevertheless, Judas and the Black Messiah, once again, very good writing and very good, very good acting. Again, I don't. Like, admittedly, I'm trying to remember a little bit of what happened in this movie, but all I remember is that I do remember, like, you know, I was very invested. I was very invested in Judas and the Black Messiah. So I'm going to put it maybe, do I put it below Coda or above it? I'm going to say below Coda because admittedly, I don't remember, I don't think it's a movie that's as, like, burned into my memory as some of these other films. But don't get me wrong, Judas and the Black Messiah is fantastic. It's great. Killers of the Flower Moon. All right, Martin Scorsese's latest historical epic. Man, again, very good film. Reminds us why Martin Scorsese still got it as a director. Amazing performances. Lily Gladstone should have won that Oscar. I keep saying that, but man, I really wanted her to win that. No, but yeah. And even though Lily Gladstone, for a lot of people, you know, it's like, you know, they're not in the movie a lot when compared to a lot of other lead actresses, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Lily Gladstone doesn't have the most screen time, but they have their scenes are burned into my memory the most. Like, out of all the actors in the movie, like, Lily Gladstone does shine a lot in this film, and you know, they are the heart of the film. And overall, like, Martin Scorsese was pretty brave in talking about willing to work with indigenous groups to make sure this movie was told as authentically as it could be, from a white director perspective. Uh, and great sense of scale as well, and also the ending. The ending was also very, very strong. That's definitely the most memorable scene of the year. That ending. So yeah, I'm gonna put Killers of the Flower Moon in A tier. Honestly, do I put it above or below All Quiet on the Western Front? I'll probably put it just below All Quiet on the Western Front, but Killers of the Flower Moon, fantastic. All right, King Richard, the movie where Will Smith won his Oscar, no, just literally a few minutes after slapping Chris Rock. Jokes aside, even though it's not really a joke, I just told you a fact. But even then, Will Smith's award, his win was not bad. I would have still gone with, what's his name? Like Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. But this isn't by no means a bad win. Will Smith was still very good in this movie. He is the heart of the film. Very good editing as well. So yeah, I wouldn't quite put it in the great category, the A category, because there are some pacing issues. I feel like this movie could have been a bit shorter and more tight. Maybe that is an editing issue. So I will put it above Don't Look Up. I'll put it above Don't Look Up, but it's still a very good, feel good movie. Very much recommend it. Then we get to Licorice Pizza. My God, this is another hot take. I thought Licorice Pizza was very unfunny. I was bored, like, badly during that film. Like, the one scene I thought that I was actually engaged in was Bradley Cooper's scenes where he was playing, John Peters. That's the only thing I liked in the movie. Like, literally, like, obviously, yeah, the performances are very good, but other than that, like, that's kind of it. Like, the performances are very good, and Bradley Cooper's scenes are really funny. Hell, why wasn't the movie about that? Why wasn't it like this whole thing about this kid and his girlfriend? Oh man, we'll look after John Peters' house, but John Peters has a big temper, and it's kind of like, that would have been really funny. That would have been a great setup for a movie. But no, it's only part of the movie. Man, I really, really did not like Licorice Pizza. Again, it's not going in F because there are some good things in it. But this is going to go in low D tier. Low D tier for me, and I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad about that. Maestro. Speaking of Bradley Cooper, this has become film Twitter's punching bag. People really, really hate Maestro for some reason and want to trash on Bradley Cooper for no good reason whatsoever. But, do I think Maestro is a great movie? No, I don't think it's great. I do feel like it does suffer from the fact that there's not really a lot of conflict in the movie. I mean, yes, there is some relationship conflict, but it's more internalized than actually like verbally delved into. And like, it's one of those things where, ironically enough, saying less kind of hurt the movie more. And even outside of that, there wasn't a lot like going on. There wasn't really a lot there wasn't really a lot of like actual conflict that was really delved into. Whereas, I've seen some people compare this to The Theory of Everything. And The Theory of Everything, I feel like, is not, in my opinion, isn't a good comparison because there was a conflict. There was the fact that, Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with ALS and his body was slowly deteriorating. And they had to figure out ways to, have him keep moving or communicate. See, that's a conflict right there. Obviously, it's not a conflict with a person, but it's some kind of conflict, an obstacle they have to overcome. There's nothing like that in Maestro. It really is just kind of like, here's Leonard Bernstein, here's his wife, and there we go. We're just kind of seeing that. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. The makeup is amazing. The performances are very strong. Hell, I'm going to say this. Bradley Cooper would have been my number 2 pick behind Cillian Murphy for Best Lead Actor. I just thought Bradley Cooper was just that good in the movie. But again, I don't love it. So I would put this in a higher B tier. It's not going in A tier. I don't think it's a great movie, but I do think it's a good movie. I do think Maestro is a good movie. Now we got Mank. But yeah, Mank like was funny because like that was a movie I did not like on first viewing, but then rewatching it, probably like almost just before the Oscars, I was like, you know what? I'm really digging this one. I'm really digging Mank. I really liked the editing. I liked the style of the film. The dialogue was pretty clever. The acting was really good. So yeah, I'd probably put it in a low great, but you know, boop, 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 boop. There we go. Yeah, I'll put Mank right there. But yeah, Mank, really loved Mank. I thought it was great. So yeah. Then we got Minari. Minari was a film that when I was watching, I was like, okay, I am enjoying this movie. Admittedly, it didn't really stick with me that much. I just kind of remember the performances being very good, and that's kind of about it. But yeah, still, that's not in any way saying Minari's bad. I did like Minari quite a bit. But it's not going to be one that I remember all that much. So I will put Minari right there, like a lower B tier, but yeah. Then we get to Nightmare Alley. Again, this is another hot take. Man, I was looking forward to Nightmare Alley. This movie was boring. I thought it was boring. I was like, move, pacing, please. Like, come on. Like, again, there's some great things about this movie. Again, performances are very good. The production design especially was amazing. But man, the pacing was just a slog. Like, I could barely get through this movie. It felt like 4 hours long. And which is funny because I've seen movies that were 4 hours long that felt shorter than this. So yeah. Man, but so I'm going to put it in probably D tier, but actually, do I go for D tier? Let me think. So yeah, this is tough. I'll probably put Nightmare Alley I'll put it between Everything Everywhere All at Once and Licorice Pizza. But it's a slog. It's a real slog. And oh boy, another hot take. Nomadland, the Best Picture winner of 2020. And man, again, like it's not even that long of a movie, but Nomadland's just very boring. It's just like, God, move, pacing. What are we doing here, people? It's just not engaging at all. And again, I get why people probably would be engaged by this. For them, maybe the pacing isn't a problem, but for me, it really was. It's like there's just nothing happening in this movie. There's just nothing, which is ironic. Again, it's ironic because Drive My Car, there's not a whole lot happening in Drive My Car, but it's significantly longer, and yet it just manages to have better pacing. And that's the thing, like, pacing can really kill a movie for me. It can really, really kill a movie for me. So, yeah, I'm gonna put Nomadland probably... Ooh, do I put it above or below Nightmare Alley? Because that's the thing. I will say Frances McDormand was fantastic in it, and she absolutely deserved her Oscar win for that. Whereas a Nightmare... Nightmare Alley does have some good set pieces as well. Like in terms of set pieces, like, it is visually interesting, but I'll probably put it slightly below Nightmare Alley, but it's by a thin margin. All right, now we're back. We're back. Oppenheimer, let's go. It won Best Picture. Probably the first movie that was my favorite movie of the year to win Best Picture in a very long time, since Moonlight. And I'm going to, let's just. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Let's just put it straight up in the top of S tier for now. Love, Oppenheimer. Absolutely wonderful. So glad Christopher Nolan finally got his Oscars. Here's hoping he can win more in the future. But this was seeing its award season run was like a dream come true. The one thing that maybe could have made it better would be it winning adapted screenplay and sound. But whatever, that's fine. Even though the winners, those winners weren't bad, but still, Oppenheimer sweep. Let's go. Past Lives. All right, Past Lives. Past Lives, again, absolutely fantastic. Love the directing in that movie. Uh, where do I put that? It also has great writing. So where am I gonna put it? This like Past Lives is a movie that again I shouldn't love this much because again it is a pretty slow paced movie, but the pacing isn't bad. It's not bad pacing. The editing is just good enough to where it's like, all right, yeah, I'm invested in this, and the creative the directing decisions in this movie are very very creative. Love that. So I'm gonna put Past Lives. Okay, it's gonna go in S tier. I'm gonna put Past Lives in S tier. Where do I put it though? Uh, I might put Past Lives between Banshees and Belfast, but we'll have to see where, like, how I'm looking at the list overall and see how I feel. Poor Things. All right, this movie won 4 Oscars. And I didn't like it. I did not like Poor Things. Once again, like, it's way too long. It's like what, over 2.5 hours? It's like roughly 2.5 hours long, and it's just not very funny. It's like, good lord, like it felt like scenes lingered on way longer than they needed to, and ultimately I'm just like, well, what's the point of all this? We're just kind of just going to all these worlds just to see them. There's not really a point to any of it. It's just like, I like the message that the movie has. The movie has a great message, but it's just like, God, like everything just kind of felt meaningless. Like, at least in terms of like this whole journey around this big world. It's like, okay, good lord, like I'm very bored right now. They're not really taking advantage of how wacky this world could be, and so yeah, I'm gonna put Poor Things. Ooh, I will put Poor Things in D tier, but like slightly above Licorice Pizza, because the costume design is very good and the performances are very very good, especially from Emma Stone. The production, like the costumes, production design is really good, but overall the movie just kind of felt very messy to me. The Power of the Dog. This is a movie that admittedly does have me thinking. The more I think about it. Again, very strong performances, pretty, like, very good direction. But again, like, it's tough. Like, I don't remember a whole lot of what this movie was doing, but I do remember, like, what I do remember is very, very, like, yeah, it is kind of sticking with me a bit, but not to where I would put it in A tier. I'll probably put it in high B tier. Maybe I'll rewatch it one of these days and maybe put it in S tier or something like that. But right now, I'll stick with B. Promising Young Woman. Promising Young Woman is interesting because, like, everyone was like really loving this movie. I like it fine, like, but it's not great. I don't think Promising Young Woman is great. Mainly and ironically enough, I think the ending kind of, like, I thought was very weak. It's like, actually, no, not the ending. What was like, no, okay. Now I know I think the problem is that the movie promises you one thing, but then it doesn't really deliver on it. It's like, oh, wait, this woman does so, but we never actually see her do anything. It's like, why not, like, show her doing that stuff? It's like, why do we need, like, why are we just being told that it happened? And so I feel like the movie kind of suffers from telling and not showing, and it's just like, it's there is one scene where, like, we're purposefully not being shown a thing that happens, and it involves something that Carey Mulligan's character is watching on a phone. Like, yeah, we don't need to see that, but we're talking about, like, basically the general crux of the film. You know, what this woman does regularly. It's like, they just imply that she does certain things, and it's like, and they just don't show it. It's like, what? So I'm gonna put Promising Young Woman in low B tier. It's all right. It's all right. Sound of Metal. All right. Talk about a movie that puts you in the perspective of the characters, because Sound of Metal absolutely does that. It's about a drummer who begins to go deaf, and that you're seeing or at least in this case, you're hearing everything from his perspective. And it is some of the trippiest sound design I've heard in my life. It's like, oh my God, what in the world? And because it makes you, because it puts you in that perspective, it's like, shit, like, man, I didn't know that, like, it's probably not exactly what it's like. It's probably like just done in a way where it's digestible for an audience member, but it's not, it probably isn't going like to the levels that, actual deaf people go through. And so it's like, yeah, like Sound of Metal, again, just fantastic. Great, again, it's a great example of putting you in the perspective of the characters. And so I'm going to put Sound of Metal. Ooh, this is interesting. Do I put Sound of Metal in the highest of A tier? Do I do that? I need to look around and, Okay, this is admittedly fascinating. Do I put it between The Father and All Quiet on the Western Front? Do I do that? Because it is a very, very strong movie. Or do I put it... Nah, but I probably would say it's better than Killers of the Flower Moon. So it's probably wrestling with All Quiet on the Western Front. I will put Sound of Metal right here. I'll put Sound of Metal right here. Again, we'll figure out the rest of the rankings. Tar. Man, this is the movie where Cate Blanchett was initially going to win Best Lead Actress, but then Michelle Williams took it at the last second. I'm glad that happened. Not that I think Cate Blanchett was bad in Tar, but it's like, she's good, but it's not her best work. But yeah, Tar, once again, it's a movie that I feel like suffers from not only pacing issues, but also I just felt no sympathy for this character. Like, Lydia Tar is such a mean character, and I get it, like, if you're gonna have like a mean character, but it's like there's nothing really that I can even like connect with. It's like she's so disassociated from like it's not only that she's just so disassociated from any kind, like from reality, like from a reality that I know, even though granted there are I'm probably not explaining this very well. There are definitely people like Lydia Tar, but the movie I don't really feel like does much to show that her beliefs are really trashy. Like, granted, as the ending goes on, it's like, okay, you see where the ending goes, but it's like, it feels like it's a bit different from I don't know. It doesn't feel like like there should have been someone that challenged her more. I feel I feel like there should have been someone that ideologically challenged her more. Cause like, it's just like, everyone just kind of goes like, oh, we're not saying anything, it's Lydia Tar, but it's like, yeah, I'll put Tar probably maybe slightly, yeah, I'll put, between Nightmare Alley and Nomadland. All right, Top Gun Maverick. Everyone loves Top Gun Maverick. People say that was the movie that saved the movies, even though it definitely helped, but, people, I don't know why people keep forgetting that Spider-Man No Way Home made more money than Top Gun Maverick and came out first, but people want to, call Top Gun Maverick the movie that saved movies because, it's not a superhero movie, and that's the, whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, Top Gun Maverick is a solid action movie, but I don't think it's a great action movie. I don't think it's great. So it's kind of like not even like an movie, but it's like again, it's good, it's solid, but it's like, why was everyone hyping this up as like best picture worthy? I don't understand that. It's just a solid action film, but there's nothing really else behind it. It's just kind of like, again, and even the story, with Tom Cruise's character and Goose's son, it's like, it's not that interesting. It's not that interesting of a conflict. We've seen this kind of conflict before, and it's like, why is everyone proclaiming this to be a big masterpiece? I don't get it. So again, like, I do like Top Gun Maverick, but I don't think it's great. I'll probably put it here. I'll probably put it in low B tier. It's good. It's a good movie, but I don't think it's a great movie. The Trial of the Chicago 7. Man, this is a movie that I keep thinking about ever since, ever since I first saw it. And even last year, I actually rewatched it. I don't rewatch a lot of movies that much. But, I rewatched it once in 2020 when it was getting closer to Oscar season. Or maybe it was 2021, technically, because the Oscars were very late that year. But I rewatched it once, and then last year I rewatched it again. I was like, wow, this movie really, not only does it really hold up, it's still relevant. It's still relevant to this day. The trial and also the writing is impeccable. Love the writing in the Trial of the Chicago 7. Also, the directing is just very strong. Great ensemble. Honestly, if you have not seen the Trial of the Chicago 7, watch it. It's fantastic. I'm putting it in S tier, and I'm putting it just below The Holdovers. It's that good, and it might creep up even more as the years go on. So we'll have to see. Triangle of Sadness. This is Ruben Östlund's satire of wealthy people and influencers. And man, this movie, if there's a word, if there is a definition of the word pretentious, it would be Triangle of Sadness. Because my God, I hate this movie's attitude. This movie thinks it's so smart. It's like, look, we're making fun of rich people. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm not here trying to defend rich people at all. But man, it's just not funny, and it's very on the nose, and look, they're vomiting up gold and stuff. Isn't that crazy? And then that stupid rant that Woody Harrelson has in the movie, as this boat is sinking. It's just not funny. It's just not funny. It's not clever. Why does film Twitter love Triangle of Sadness so much? I don't get it. It's just so, it's pretentious. It's just a really pretentious film that thinks it's more clever than it is. So, yeah, hell, there were, two other movies that did this kind of, hell, literally just in 2022. The Menu, I thought was a way better, was a way better and way more clever satire of, rich people and, class, financial classes, or I don't really know I don't know how to describe that, but it's that did it way better. Parasite did it way better. Joker did it way better. This is just not funny. It's just very, very I'm clever. I'm Ruben Östlund. I'm really clever. So yeah, no, it's not awful, but it's bad. It's pretty bad. So I would say, what do I do? Actually, let me check. Okay, yeah, I might put Triangle of Sadness. Okay, this is tough. Okay, it's tough. Okay, Nomadland is boring, but also Triangle of Sadness makes me angry. Just thinking about it. I'll probably put Triangle of Sadness, next to, between Nomadland and Licorice Pizza. Really don't like that movie. Really don't like it. Alright, we're back. All three of these movies that we have left, they're all great. We're starting off with West Side Story. This might be one of my, favorite movies ever now. West Side Story. This is, this was I think the film drunk kind of described West Side Story perfectly. It's like a magic trick. It's like Steven Spielberg's this magician, and he's want to see something cool? Woo! Look at all this. This is really cool. And it's yeah, this is really cool. Oh my God. The cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen. The directing is easily one of Spielberg's best. The performances are all fantastic. The singing is all great. The dancing is incredible. The way dancing is incorporated with action is very good, where you still feel the choreography, but you also feel the aggression in the action. It's done so perfectly. My God. And you know what? This is a bit of a hot take. I'll put this even higher up than Oppenheimer. There we go. Yeah, West Side Story, let's go. Oh my god, this movie is so good. I love West Side Story so much. Yeah. Then we get to Women Talking. Women Talking was, again, very, 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 like, actually, no, yeah, it's great. It's very well written. Uh, and I love, the performances, but really this is like the Banshees of Inisherin. It's a writing kind of movie. It's like the writing stands out. This is about a bunch of women in this, what are they called? Amish. It's either Amish or Mennonites. I don't know. Maybe they're the same thing. I don't know. But basically, one of the women was sexually assaulted, and the men have decided, nope, he didn't do it, even though there was a lot of evidence pointing the fact that the guy did do it. And the women, they talk and they have this debate. Okay, what do we do? Do we stay here like nothing happened? Do we fight back, or do we leave do we leave this place? And this movie is just so strong. Like, again, hearing, like, I love debating kind of movies where it's like, no, we gotta do this, no, we gotta do this. It's everyone's kind of going at one another verbally, and it's so fascinating. I love Women Talking. So actually, let me check. And if I'm going to be honest, I feel like Women Talking does age well. Like, it is a movie that really does grow on. Like, I already loved it when I first saw it, but the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, let's go. This movie's very, very, very strong. So I will put Women Talking probably just above Anatomy of a Fool. Do I do that? I'll probably right now put it above Anatomy of a Fall. But this movie, yeah, it could creep up there. That is a movie that by the time this decade is over could maybe creep up. So watch out in about 6 years for that. Or maybe I'll make this an annual thing. Who knows? The Zone of Interest. That is our last film that we're going to be talking about. And man, what a film to end on, because this movie is so scary. Like, again, on paper, I should not like this movie because there's not a lot of plot. And there's not a ton of dialogue. I mean, granted, there is dialogue. People do talk, but it's not really a plot-driven movie. But what this movie has that a lot of the movies in D tier don't have: atmosphere and pacing. It is paced so well. It's not even 2 hours long. It's actually, let me check. Yeah, it's like an hour 45 minutes long, and it just brisks by. It's so good, and oh my god! Remember when I said I would give Oppenheimer best sound? I'm not gonna complain about the Zone of Interest winning best sound, because the sound in that movie is also that's telling that's like half the story right there. But again, in terms of craft, I would give it to Oppenheimer, but still, the Zone of Interest winning sound is not one I'm going to complain about. And if I'm going to be honest, this is going to be a film that is going to go down as one of the best of the decade. Like, the Zone of Interest, impeccable direction. Like, if it were any other year, like, the Zone of Interest may have been my vote for best director. Or at the very least, in terms of it's tough. But, God, it is such a shame that it was competing against Oppenheimer. Because obviously Oppenheimer was my pick to win Best Picture and Best Director. But man, the Zone of Interest was close. It came closer than I thought it would be. But yeah, Jonathan Glazer made a masterpiece. A Holocaust film, that of which we've never seen before. Like, this is insane. But yeah, I'm going to put this in very high S tier. This is straight up, again, it's going to go down as one of the, maybe one of the best movies of the 21st century. We'll have to see. But yeah, guys, let's go over this. All right. From in D tier, from worst to best, we have Licorice Pizza, Triangle of Sadness, Nomadland, Poor Things, Tar, Nightmare Alley, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Then we have I don't think we have any C tier. Admittedly, Everything Everywhere All at Once is, getting of them in C tier maybe, but it's I don't know. I still kind of feel like it's a D. Even though I do feel like there are some movies. Oh man, what do I do? Cause It's not a, like, C isn't really a passing grade, I don't think. And plus there is also, a C plus or a C minus. It's tough. Again, I'll stick with a high D tier. But in B tier we have Promising Young Woman, Top Gun Maverick, Don't Look Up, Minari. Okay, okay, this is something I need to think on. Okay, it's tough. Don't Look Up was fantastic up until that awful alien mid-credit scene. If you took that out, this movie would be fantastic. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it a little bit. I'm going to put it up a little bit, and maybe swap out. Oh, I will probably swap out Top Gun Maverick and Minari. I will probably do that because I do remember some scenes in Top Gun a little bit more. Minari is a film that, again, great performances, but it's good. I mean, like, yeah, the movies in B tier are good, but I don't think they're great. But yeah, Don't Look Up. Actually, yeah, okay, in B tier, from lowest to best in B tier. Promising Young Woman, Minari, Top Gun Maverick, King Richard, Don't Look Up, Maestro, The Power of the Dog. And The Power of the Dog, if I decide to rewatch it one day, it could creep back up to like A tier. We'll have to see about that. A tier. In low A tier, from lowest to greatest, we have Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Coda, Drive My Car, Avatar: The Way of Water, Anatomy of a Fall, Women Talking, Elvis, American Fiction, Killers of the Flower Moon, Sound of Metal, All Quiet on the Western Front, and The Father. Now this is tough. Do I put... man, I don't... I may put All Quiet on the Western Front above The Father. I might do that. Again, they're very close, but man, All Quiet on the Western Front, they're very different movies. I might still go with All Quiet on the Western Front. How do I feel about this, about some of the other films? Yeah, I might. Okay, yeah, I think I'm happy with where A tier is. S tier. Then this is the peak. This is where we're getting to peak cinema right here. All right. From least best to best, we have Belfast, Past Lives, The Banshees of Inisherin, The Trial of the Chicago 7, The Holdovers, The Fabelmans, Barbie, Dune Part 1, The Zone of Interest, Oppenheimer, West Side Story. You know what? I think I am very happy with this. I think I'm very happy with where I put things here. All the, again, for the most part, this has been a very good decade for movies. Like, this has been very strong. Yeah, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the decade looks like. And I don't know, maybe I might try to do more of these. Although, maybe I should just take out the haven't watched thing, because I feel like if I'm going to do these kind of ranking videos, I need to see every movie that was nominated, because it's just, it's not fun if it's not fun if I haven't seen them all. But yeah, I think I'm good with this. I think I am good. And also I might, link this in the description so you can, show me your tier lists, and maybe you can put it on my Discord, share them on the Discord. I have a Discord server, link below in the description. And so yeah, what's your ranking of the Best Picture nominees of the 2020s so far? Let me know what you guys think, and consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you don't, movies will only get worse.